What's up guys, it's Aaronitmar, and today we have a very special mod to show off because this is the first mod I'm showing off from Super Smash Bros. Legacy XP 2.0. Now as you can tell from the screen, we have quite a few, or a handful of characters I should say, that weren't in the first Legacy XP, and today we're going to take a look at one of those, which is of course Mage Ganondorf, or simply a declone of Ganondorf, because as we know, the normal Ganondorf, even in the Project M world, is still simply a Captain Falcon clone at the end of the day. So this mod attempts to take that and completely change Ganondorf to be the great king of evil, the sorcerer himself. So I'm very excited to show this off because it's honestly what I wish Ganondorf had been from the beginning. Obviously it's not what we got, but this is very cool anyway, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. First, let's start with Mage Ganondorf's jump. He's got an obvious jump and double jump like normal, but he also has a float, rather similar to Project M Mewtwo, or I guess Peach, except with Ganondorf you can actually move it around. People who play Project M will know that Ganondorf from Project M has a float, but this one is fully controllable. It's basically Mewtwo's float. It does differ in a couple of ways I'll explain, but it is basically Mewtwo's float. So you can just hold the jump and then start floating, or you can of course hold down while you are doing the jump input, and you can immediately float cancel it and begin using it as soon as you want. Now, Mage Ganondorf's does work a little bit differently, because if you're over the stage, or I'm sorry, if you're over the blast zone, or you're up near the top of the stage, his float will last a significantly less amount of time. So this is about how long it lasts while you're over the stage, and this is how long it lasts while you're over the blast zone. I did that pretty badly, but you'll see it lasts like a very small amount of time by comparison to overstage. Once again, here's overstage. You'll notice that there's a lot of time before Ganondorf begins flashing and then he drops, whereas if you do it over here, he immediately starts flashing and then drops down, and then you'll have to act out of it. You'll have to air dodge, up B, do whatever. But if you're over the stage or you're up near the top of the stage, I'll see if I can do it up here. Oops. You'll notice that it lasts a significantly less amount of time, or significant less amount of time than just over the simple stage, and that's why I wanted to show off Ganondorf's jump, because normally I don't show off the jumps, but this one includes the float, so I wanted to make sure that I show that off. Mage Ganondorf has two forms of his jab. The first is a quick jab, not unlike his Melee and Project M forms, that has a win box at the end if you are too far away, but if you're close enough, it will actually... Okay, well that's the second form. The first form is just a quick punch like that. The second one, as you can see, is a very weird sort of darkness effect. He basically pulls up the Triforce of Power and summons this darkness to hurt your enemy, and you can see that it gets significantly less powerful and has less distance the longer you hold it out. I kind of think of it as like a Bowser or a Charizard's neutral B, but it's on his jab, which is pretty interesting. All you gotta do is hold the jab button down, and it will activate this version of his jab. Otherwise, all you gotta do is do a quick jab, and a jab of the A button, and it'll do his normal jab. So those are his two jabs. Pretty unusual to have two different jabs, much less like a, not chargeable, but a holdable jab, basically. Kind of interesting, and definitely unique to Smash for the most part. Alright, next let's do tilts. First, of course, is Mage Ganondorf's up tilt, which is sort of this pillar of darkness that summons out of the ground and launches the opponent kind of upward. Really, really cool looking, honestly. Nothing else really to say about that. It doesn't have any hidden features, but it is honestly really cool looking, and it's really cool to see Ganondorf actually use magic. Next is his forward tilt, which again does have a little quirk to it. It's actually a chargeable forward tilt, so another chargeable move. If you simply tap forward tilt, it does basically his jab, but it just sort of knocks you away. If you are to charge it up, he charges sort of this Kamehameha wave and then launches a dark energy wave outward. And you can see that even at the tail end it's doing damage, even if it's not doing knockback. You'll notice that when you charge it up, there's kind of a fire or spark sound effect. Right then is where you want to let go. This move actually has a sweet spot as far as how much damage and knockback is dealt. So if you let go right there, you'll notice that Ganon does a sort of grunt, and then the fire is a little more substantial and does a little bit more of knockback if you use it on the opponent. But the grunt is the indicator that tells you when you actually do hit that sweet spot. Otherwise, if you hit past it, it will do a decent amount, but it won't do a crazy good amount. Not opposed to the sweet spot. Now, the sweet spot is hard to hit. You can be a little early, you can be a little late. But that is his forward tilt. Rather unique forward tilt, again, to have a chargeable forward tilt. Not many, if any, characters have one of those, so that's pretty cool. Finally is Ganondorf's down tilt, which is a two-parter. If you press the A button again, you'll get a second half of the down tilt. The first half is just a little poke with electricity, and the second half is a punch. So if you press AA, it'll do the electric poke and then a punch. So I'm gonna show how that goes right now. Boom! Like that. Basically, it kind of looks like a force palm from Lucario, but that is his down tilt. Pretty basic. You can, of course, just do the, that's the jab. You can, of course, just do the electric half, but the second half does, of course, have a substantial use, and all it takes is a second tap of the A button. So that's a pretty cool down tilt. 2 of the 3 have interesting quirks about them, but pretty cool tilts all around. All right, now let's look at Mage Ganondorf's grab. This one is pretty interesting, so I've turned hitboxes on so you can visualize what's happening, because it, of course, involves wind boxes, and those can get very complicated. So I'm going to try my best to show off the hitboxes. There it is. All right, so the 4 red circles, those are the wind boxes, and those are going to push your opponent towards the pink circle, and that circle is where the grab is actually located. Normally a grab is right by the hand, but this one is pretty disjointed because, of course, he's a magic user. So those red hitboxes are going to push you into the pink hitbox if you're in range. Of course, if you're not, it's gonna whiff. But that is the goal of his grab, is to push you into the pink hitbox, and then the pink hitbox, of course, will grab you. So you can see exactly how it works. And here's his grab without hitboxes, so you can see how it works without the distraction, because I know those can get in the way. But that is what's happening. It's pushing him into the hitbox, or pulling him into the hitbox. If you're close enough, it'll push you into the hitbox, and if you're far enough away, it will pull you into it, assuming it doesn't entirely miss. So that's his grab, and now let's take a look at his throws. I almost forgot Pummel, but his Pummel is basically, he uses some kind of telekinesis to grab you. He uses the force, actually, to grab the opponent and sort of just squeeze them, and then that hurts them. Let's go ahead and reset the damage here, and we'll look at the throws. So first is up throw. He launches you upwards, pulls you forward, and then slams you into the ground with a punch. Next is back throw, which he teleports you through his darkness and makes you end up behind you, of course, because that's what back throw does. Then there's down throw, which he takes you, raises you into the air, again, sort of using the force, and then launches you downward into the ground. And then, of course, forward throw, which he just sort of launches you, which is pretty basic. So that's his grab and throws. Nothing really too fancy with them. They're just pretty basic. What you see is what you get. Okay, now let's tackle his smash attacks. The first one is up smash, which utilizes the power of the Triforce of Power, of course, and he creates sort of a force field around him and launches the opponent upward. And of course, it can catch him at the top there, so you can't exactly juggle them. I'm of course playing with a CPU, but you can see what it does, how it works, and its range. It's got pretty good range, but of course it's got really long startup as well, so you will want to make sure that if you use this, you use it, and you know you're going to hit it, because otherwise they can easily punish you or just sort of avoid it. Next is his forward smash. Again, using magic, he sort of charges up a Kamehameha and then launches it at your opponent. Goes pretty far too, as far as in front of you. You can see that right there is about the max distance right before Link. You can see that that's pretty much the furthest that you're going to be able to be while still using this move. Obviously, you charge it up, it's going to do more percent, more knockback, but that is his forward smash. A pretty cool one, but pretty basic at the same time. Finally is his down smash, which is just a simple electric punch into the ground. I'm not sure exactly where the hitbox on that... Oh, that's a big hitbox. I assume at the end of it, it doesn't do much. Yeah, it doesn't do a lot of knockback. So if I charge this all the way up, even at the end, it doesn't do much damage. But the closer you are to point of impact, of course, the more it's going to do, because it's Ganondorf's awful fist combined with his evil magic. So that's basically his down smash. Nothing too crazy. Next, we can tackle his aerials. These are pretty unique, so I'm pretty excited to show them off. So the first is a neutral air, which is sort of a launch of dark energy outside of his body. And of course, the closer you are, the more it's going to hurt you. Kind of reminds me of Mewtwo's neutral air in its utility, although it obviously doesn't have the electric effect and the multi-hit. But you can see that it does do quite a bit, and it's a pretty cool move. So that's his neutral air. Next, let's do his up air. You can see I've set Link to jump up and down because it's obviously easier to show off the move that way. But here's his up air. It launches the enemy up, and then it sort of brings them back down to where they started. Of course, assuming the hitbox hits. It's a really cool move, and of course it does look OP, but you can see that it's kind of easy to hop out of it. You can see that even the CPU that's just set to jump can even fall out of this move. So it does look a bit OP, and that's probably just because of its animation, but it's a really cool up air. And of course, it's good combo fodder, you know, you can do that, and then immediately go into a neutral air, go into a jab, do things like that. But that is his up air. And I gotta say, this Link is going crazy. Next, let's do his forward air, which again is kind of an electric poke. You can see that he kind of pokes out a little bit of a magic attack, and it has kind of a decent range on it. Oh, did that actually hit? Oh, okay, so at the very end, it does percent, but no knockback, similar to Ganon's other electric attacks, but that is his forward air. It does have a bit of range on it, so you can see that about here I can hit it. I'm trying to find the max distance. Right about, let's see, right at the line? I'm trying to do it. Right at the line seems to be the max distance to actually get some knockback done. A bit further, of course, is how I showed off the percent, but not the knockback. So that's his forward air. Nothing fancy with that either. And it's just a nice little electric poke. Alright, next is his down air, which again is an electric move. He launches a lightning bolt downwards to hit the opponent. Got a decent amount of range, and obviously at the very bottom of it is going to probably do the most amount of damage, as well as the most amount of knockback. But again, very basic down smash, or down air, I should say. And kind of an interesting departure from the fact that Ganondorf normally can just like launch you down into oblivion using one down air. Then, of course, there's his back air, which actually isn't too crazy different from his actual back air. It kind of has the same animation, but you'll see that magic does come out of it. At a certain maximum distance, it will do just like the electric moves, like right there, where it will do some percent, but not do any knockback. But then, of course, there is just the normal actual move, where it actually just hits you. That's a forward smash. Not what I wanted at all. Come here, you. I'm having to control both because I forgot to set it to stop. But yeah, that's his back air. Pretty basic back air. Nothing too fancy with that. All of his aerials are pretty no nonsense, other than his crazy up air. But yeah, that's his back air, and those are all of his aerials. Before I forget, because this is the move that I always forget, this is his dash attack. He sort of lunges forward in the air with an electric move and knocks the opponent upwards. Pretty basic. This one does remind me of Mewtwo's neutral air, but there we go. Pretty basic dash attack. All right, now it's time for the complicated stuff. We are tackling the special moves. So first, of course, is his neutral B, which is the sort of magic charge up that you do to play tennis in Ocarina of Time with both Phantom Ganon and normal Ganondorf. He charges up this beam above him, and the longer you hold it, of course, the more he's going to get, up until he gets the most, and then he can launch it at his opponent. Of course, if that's Link, he can just stand still with his shield and not worry about it. There are 3 different stages to this, effectively. There's this one, where he holds 1 in the air, then 2 more are added, so he gets 3, and then 2 extra are added for a total of 5. And as he holds it, more are added. So, for example, right now, he gets 2 instead of 3. You'll see that the animation adds the 2, then adds 2 more, and I think total there's only 5. Well, that's hard to tell, but obviously he gets more the more that he holds it and charges it. Now, you can float while you do this. So, for example, let's say you jump in the air and then you do this move. You can float. The same basic rules apply. If you're over the stage, you'll keep your float. But if you find yourself off the stage, you'll immediately fall, and then you'll have to come back to the stage or risk dying. But that is his neutral B. Really cool neutral B, and an awesome reference to the boss fight in Ocarina of Time, where you can see that he launches it. I don't think it's possible to play tennis. If you launch it at a move that's a reflecting move, for example, a Franklin badge or like Fox's down B, it will launch it downward. I don't think that Ganondorf can actually hit it back at you. I don't think you can play tennis. The most you can do is, of course, reflect it if you like power shield it or reflect it with a move or something like that. But no tennis like in the game, but still pretty cool reference nonetheless. You can only move side to side. I think I forgot to mention that. You can't move up and down with this move. You can only move side to side. If you try and go up, nothing happens, and you'll do that punch if you try and go down. But that is Mage Ganondorf's neutral B. Next, let's take a quick break. We are going to do Ganondorf's side B, which is his basic cape. I believe it does reflect, actually. I can set this up real quick. I can charge this up. All right, I can charge this up. And, all right, I might need to be a bit further. Nope, there we go. It reflects perfectly. No trouble there. So yeah, that's just basic, kind of like Mario's cape, and kind of like his neutral B in normal Project M, except they stuck it on his side B. Of course, you can do that in the air. So yeah, that's his side B. All right, now let's do his down B, which has two forms, one in the air that we've already seen, and one that's on the ground. So first we'll do the aerial one, where you launch into the air with a skyward punch, and then he'll begin to float. And then, of course, the similar rules to floating apply. If you charge up this down B, the float, I believe, will be longer. Yes. So that is how the float works as far as the down B goes. You can charge it up. And, of course, it's got a hitbox, so it's going to hurt. And, yeah, that's his grounded down B. And then there's his aerial down B, which we've already seen is that downward punch to the ground. So I'm going to float here, and then I'm going to down B. And, of course, it'll launch himself at the ground. If you simply tap it, it actually doesn't do as devastating a move. So let's say I just tap it. It sort of just launches you down. I'm going to see... It does do some damage, but it will stop you at a certain distance. So right about there is where it'll stop you. Whereas if you are to hold it, it will go all the way down. So you may want to keep that in mind if you are planning on holding it down. It will take you all the way down no matter what. Whereas if you just tap it, it will take you only to a certain distance, and then it will put you back into to a form where you can, you know, jump, you can jab, you can do whatever you want. It's all fun and dandy. So those are the different kinds of his down B, both in the air and on the ground. And if you hold, and if you don't, that's a lot to talk about. And we aren't even at the most complicated move yet. And that move is his up B. Now, it's not complicated to execute, it's just simply complicated to wrap your head around, and then for me to explain. So his standard up B is a simple teleportation. He uses the portals that Phantom Ganon uses to basically go anywhere. He can do pretty much any direction, kind of like any teleport in Project M or Smash in general. But there is a held down version, and this is where things get complicated. So basically, similar to how Phantom Ganon can create fake portals that you're gonna have to figure out which one Phantom Ganon is actually coming out of, Mage Ganondorf can do the exact same thing. Now, at first glance, it might seem like the direction that you're holding impacts which one you come out of, and that is actually the opposite. Basically, the direction you're holding is the direction that your fake portals are going to appear. So I'm gonna hold to the right when I do my up B, and you'll notice that the portals will appear on the right side of the portal that Mage Ganondorf comes out of. So you'll see he came out of the left one, and the fake portals were to his right. Now we'll do it to the left, and you'll see that he'll come out of the right portal, and the fake portals will be on his left. So it is a little bit complicated to wrap your head around, and even more so for the opponent to try and react to. I'll show what it looks like to do it up. Up, of course, is going to be, he's going to come out of the bottom portal, and the top portals are the ones that he is creating that are fake because he's holding up. That was an accident. My finger fell off. the stick. But you can see that he comes out of the bottom one, and he creates portals that are above him, and he comes out of the lower one. I'm gonna do it down here so you can actually see what happens. I'm holding up, and the two that are fake are the ones that are above him. You can do the same thing if you do it downwards. He comes out of the top one, and the fake portals are down at the bottom. A little difficult to wrap your head around, but you kind of can think of it as the direction you're holding is the direction that the portals are going to appear on the side that you're gonna come out of. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, and even harder, like I said, to explain. Of course, you can angle it, and then you can do the fake ones. So I went to the right there, and then I held to the left, which means that the fake portals came out on the right. Again, you can do that over here. The portals do some damage. I don't think that they do damage if they are the fake ones. This is gonna be really hard to test. Yeah, so the fake portals don't do damage, only the real one does. And it's gonna be up to the enemy player to figure out which portal he's coming out of. Like I said, it is kind of complicated, but it is pretty cool, and a nice little nod to how Phantom Ganon worked, and how you had to guess which one he was coming out of, and had to pay attention. So, do you have to pay attention to his up B? So once again, the direction that you're holding is the side that the fake portals are going to appear, and not the side that the Ganondorf is going to appear. Of course, this is all moot if you do the tap version of up B, where you just tap it once, and he comes out of a single portal. Of course, that is your prerogative for which one you want to use. You can see that I did the fake portal one and popped out of the right side. It's a little difficult to wrap your head around because naturally you want to force your character to go a certain way, when really you're kind of forcing him to go the opposite way in a sort of sense. I really hope I did that explanation justice. Basically, the direction you're holding is the fake portal. I don't know, this was hard for me to wrap my head around. Maybe it's not for you, and maybe I'm just stupid, but that is Ganondorf's up B. And then, of course, let's take a look at Mage Ganondorf's final smash, because of course he's got to have a magic-based final smash and not turned into Pig Ganon. So here it is. He does a lightning ability all around the battlefield, and as you can see, I've spawned 3 computers and they all got hit, and then they're all kind of stunned. I'm going to do it again because you can see that they're stunned. You can actually attack them after they are stunned, but you honestly might not want to. You could go for the BM unless one gets missed. Then you'll have to worry about them. But if you use his final smash, you see the red one didn't get hit by it, but then you can come over here to the ones that are stunned, and you can actually end up hitting them just like that. It's a basic stun, just like Project M loves to do, but that is his final smash. If you do nothing, you hit all of them, you're basically free to just sort of like taunt at them and be like, haha, alright, well this isn't cool. You want to give me that final smash there, bud? Or you just want to get killed? Then maybe I can get the final smash. There we go. I just wanted it. I just wanted it, man. I'll show it off one more time now that Link has kindly not stolen it. So you can go ahead and do that. And then, you know, you can just run around on them. You can taunt on them. You can footstool them if you wanted, because, oh, the footstool doesn't even impact them. And there you go. That is his final smash. And what is a custom character without some taunts? So let's take a look. First is his up taunt, which is basically just Ganondorf's normal up taunt, although you can see the Triforce appears below his feet to emphasize that he has the Triforce of power within him. Next is the side taunt, which he harnesses all of the dark energy within him and sparks appear on his body. It's kind of cool because that's actually one of Captain Falcon's taunts, so it's kind of neat that even though he's been totally decloned, there's still a remnant of Captain Falcon in this character, and I kind of like that little nod. You wouldn't know that just from looking at it unless you really knew Smash. Finally is his down taunt, which he has the laughter. He's such a jolly fellow, laughing at Link because he thinks Link is gonna lose. I don't know, but that's his down taunt. And finally, there is a little Easter egg taunt. If you float and press the taunt button, he gets this darkness around him, and he does a little bit of a chuckle as well. So that's an extra little taunt that he has that you can do pretty much anywhere, I believe. I'm trying to float here. There we go. You can do it pretty much anywhere, and I think it actually prolongs your taunt. Although, of course, if you're hit during it, then you're not going to really benefit at all, but that is an aerial taunt. One last Easter egg that I have been told to point out, or at least been made aware of, that I like to point out, is if you have your shield broken, Ganondorf will be at his knees and be, you know, panting like he is at the end of the final boss fight with Link. And then, of course, he gets up, brushes his cape out of the way, and he's ready to fight. Let's see it from the other side, because the other side does have a better angle. But that is Mage Ganondorf, and I am very, very impressed with this character. I honestly wish that Mage Ganondorf, or a Ganondorf that has his magic, at least somewhat, was in Smash. I can understand why they did it in Melee, because they needed to flesh out the roster while still, you know, cutting down on time. So it makes sense that they at least were using Captain Falcon as a basis in Melee. From Brawl and Smash 4, I really had wished that they were gonna have a magic-based Ganondorf. Here's hoping, fingers crossed, for Smash for Switch, that we have some kind of Ganondorf that uses his magic. Especially with Breath of the Wild totally changing up the formula and not really having a Ganondorf in that game. Hopefully we see a Ganondorf that uses his magic, but who knows? I'd really like to know what you guys think of this character, of this special modded decloned Ganondorf. I've been told that the initial impression is that he's OP, and I can see where you would get that. After playing with him a bit, I can see that he is definitely on like the above average side, but OP is definitely a stretch, because you really do need to know a lot about his combo game in order to actually make good use of him. Especially when you're playing against some of that Project M AI. Boy, I tell you, I certainly got wrecked while I was learning how this character worked. But that, guys, is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit the like button. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. Yes, I'm part of the Bell Squad now. And I will see you guys in the next episode of mods on this channel. I don't know why I called it episodes. They're not really episodes. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace out, and I hope you have an awesome day.